Can you hear us?
Hi.
I think this is the busiest it's ever been. So I want to put into context how Jake is here. So in May of 1987, I did my first degree in fine art. I wanted to be a filmmaker, and having looked around quite a few universities, I decided on North East London Poly because it seemed to be doing all the things that I wanted to do in a fine art context. And so I rocked up in May 1987 to my interview at the fine art department, which was in Plaistow at that time. This old, I think it looks like I think it was an old hospital, or was it a hospital?
It was a hostel.
Or was it a hostel?
Siemens hostel.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sounds rude, but
yeah.
Sounds rude.
So I rocked up and got my portfolio out, and this student came up and started interviewing me. I was being interviewed by a student for a place, but you gave me a place on the course.
I'm not sure if I actually gave you a place. I don't think I did, but I'm sure. Isn't that just to stop sort of tutor bullying? You have a student rep that stands by and makes sure that the tutors aren't mean.
Oh, I never thought. I just thought.
There were no tutors in there. It was just me.
No.
Are you sure you had a place? You were there for 3 years.
Oh, actually, where was it?
Did you get a certificate with your degree?
It was all a dream.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting you say though that you actually chose North East London Poly, because I remember I applied for Slade, Chelsea, St Martin's. I didn't get into any of those. So I ended up in one of those, I don't know what it's called now, but it was like a kind of a holding house for students that no one wanted. I had to wait for a couple of months after everyone else had heard where they'd gone, and then I got this kind of little chip through the door saying you're going to North East London Poly, and I was like, where the fuck's that? And it really was. It was like the arse end of London, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So we survived NELP.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing, actually, I'm sorry. I mean, I got this phone call about sort of 25 years later by this woman phoning up saying from some East London University, and I was kind of lightly flattered on the phone. She said, because you're one of the alumni. I never really understand what that word means, but I was one of them. And she said, we want to take your photograph and put you in our catalogue, our brochure for this. And I was so fucking flattered. I thought, wow, yeah. I said, yeah, of course, yeah, okay. And she said, so when were you at the Polytechnic of North London? And I said, no, I was at the Polytechnic of North East London, Poly. And she said, oh, sorry. That was that. Yeah. Fuck you.
We just met out on the street, and it's the first time we've seen each other since, I reckon, probably about 1989.
Yeah. I haven't changed.
Yeah. I have. It's great to see you, though. It really
nice
is.
to see you too. Okay, that was great.
Yeah, that's it, right, so... when I was saying to you that, I never prepare and I don't know what the next question is, it's one of them moments.
Yeah.
You emailed me last night, you've been doing a thing, you've been in Spain, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in Spain for the past week. I went for two reasons. One, to go and do a BBC programme on Goya, and we had a...
They actually let you near Goya again?
Yeah, I know. They strip searched me. I did manage to smuggle in a pencil, but it was a very short one. But the main purpose of my visit was to go and see the MotoGP in Valencia. So it's kind of like Goya, whatever. Rossi, lost. But that was good. The bike racing was great. The Goya was all right. So I've been in Spain. I mean, amazingly sort of hot weather, southern Spain. Just incredible. So I've just had 4 hours of driving up the M1 from Gloucestershire.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah. if I'd known it was this far, I wouldn't have come.
Yeah, well, I did see. I got a telephone call from somebody in your organisation at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I was like, oh, fucking hell, no, he's not coming.
No. No, very happy to come. Very, very happy to come. Yeah, very happy. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, me too.
Very glad you did.
I don't know what happens next. Goya.
Goya. Yeah. Can't really get away from him, really.
Why did you agree? Why did you know we? Why did you come back and made this TV show about him?
Because I think I've got this. Because I think you're sort of analysing me. Well, it's a simple thing. I think I've got a problem with saying no on telephones. I mean, I can cite 3 case histories: 1 you, 2 Goya, and 3. What was the other one? Fuck.
That woman from yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, Christ. Yeah. So, go on then. Ask me a question. I'm ready.
So 1988, you.
This is going to take a long time.
It's going to take. Yeah, we're going to do it chronologically, year by year.
Yeah.
So I did a fine art degree, and you were saying what's been happening since, and I
Do you remember Sebastian?
yeah, I do, yeah.
Do you remember he got beaten up outside the college?
Yeah.
And someone went out and painted a white line around him?
Yeah.
He got really bad.
Of course, yeah, of course. So I was saying to you earlier, and I always find you a bit. We had a laugh. I remember when we drank in a few of the same pubs. Actually, I'll tell you what I do remember. We went to a panto. A load of us went, and we were giving the good princess a load of grief to the point where she fled in tears off the stage.
Yeah.
Student wankers.
But do you remember who was it went up on the roof?
Who's that?
Do you remember the kid? I can't remember his name. He was some crazy kid climbed up on the roof. Do you know? It was in Stratford East Theatre. He climbed up on the roof and he came down onto the stage and was dancing with the characters and got kind of like rugby tackled by that Dick Whittington or whoever the fuck it was.
I remember heckling the princess.
Heckling, yeah. So it's good when the cast of the pantomime actually start heckling back. Interactive, immersive theatre. Yeah.
So where did you go after North East London Poly?
I went straight to Royal College. I did 2 years MA at Royal College, which was a total waste of time. It was like going to the public school I never wanted to go to, It was really quite horrific. Because at that time I was still living in Upton Park, which was sort of pretty much of a shithole. And so I'd get on the district line and go from East London and kind of like get spat out in South Ken. And it was kind of like, from rags to riches every morning. Yeah. And it was kind of quite difficult to sort of, the sculpture department was behind the Natural History Museum. And it was just, it was like a finishing school for all kind of middle class brats. So it was pretty shit. And I tried to go, I sort of also went up to Goldsmiths at the same time, but sneakily, so that neither of them even knew. It was kind of, I couldn't manage it for about 3 months before they found out and it all went tits up, so, yeah.
What happened?
It was, the Goldsmiths do this weird thing, they have this part-time MA course where, it's kind of just like, the Royal College course is full-time, but Goldsmiths was this sort of part-time thing where you had to have your own independent studio, so what would happen is that, they'd do this thing, it was kind of very bourgeois, very cultured, so that you'd have your work. Your group crit would mean that all the rest of the students would come round to your studio, wherever it was, and you would have to feed them as they critiqued your work. And normally the food was kind of like nibbles and kind of like nice sort of people put a lot of effort into the food because it would detract from the kind of aggression of the work. So if the work was good, you'd probably just get sandwiches. If the work was shit, you'd get amazing sort of like, wow, the food's amazing, whatever, And so the tutors would come, and it was this very sort of, quite grotesque actually. So I did this for a while I was still at Royal College, but the problem for me was that I didn't have an independent studio, so the place I had to get them to come to was actually my studio in the Royal College.
Right.
So it was that was the point at which it all went wrong, because I think because the Royal College staff were walking to and fro as I had this kind of semicircle of people with Domino's pizzas critiquing my work, and what the fuck is this? So it's Goldsmiths. I'm at Goldsmiths as well. Yeah. So
What did you get out from going? What did you get out of going and doing an MA?
not much, not a lot. I mean, like I said, Royal College was just very dull. I mean, they had they were just very resistant to the idea of teaching. You know, they just kind of had this idea that, you know, it was kind of like a finishing school, that once you kind of, you know, entered the pantheon of the RCA, and you can have RCA after your name, that somehow you kind of you join the kind of the you know, the edifice with people like sort of David Mack and Tony Cragg and you know, Tony Crap, all those people, you know, which are people you wouldn't really want to, well, you know, piss on if they're on fire. But
So does that mean that there's a, you know,
it means I've got RCA after my name.
Yeah. Do you pray after your name?
No.
Have you ever prayed after your name?
No, of course not.
No, go on.
We did send a letter to the Royal Academy, me and my brother, saying that we wanted to be academicians, and we were prepared to have, I'd have an R and Dinos would have an A. Make it easy for them.
Yeah, brilliant.
I didn't go for it. No.
Why did you start working with your brother? I never met him. I've never met him, by the way.
Is he not?
No. Was he at North East London?
No, God no. He was. He did Ravensbourne about sort of, because he's 5 years older than me. He went to Ravensbourne, and then they knocked it down, and then he worked for Gilbert and George for about 7 years, and then and then I, you know, so I missed him through college. But then we ended up at the same. He ended up doing painting at the Royal College at the same time I was doing sculpture. He hated it there as well, and I think in some senses our you know, our working together was a kind of a marriage of inconvenience, really, given the fact that we both hated our places at Royal College. I mean, all the other people there were idiots. So people like Tracy Emin and, you know, awful.
I felt that about everybody in my year, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very strangely, you know, self-congratulatory, the Royal College, and it was, you know, it kind of just really sort of was kind of tutored in the art of kind of, you know, self-belief, really. And you know, so in a sense, you know, the idea of an MA was nothing to do with, you know, I remember having lists of people I wanted to speak to, sort of artists like Art and Language and writers like Rosalind Krauss and stuff, and they refused to have them in because they were too, you know, they didn't want thinking artists. So yeah, it was a bit boring.
But it's funny that, you know, you talk about that whole thing of self-belief, because that's really important, isn't it? You know, to have self-belief in what you're doing, to be able to stand up there. I didn't have that, you know, I was saying to you earlier.
I see, I find that, and I kind of see that as kind of pretty anomalous. I think the idea of making art is probably the worst thing that you can do to summon up any sense of sort of self-regard. I think it's the nastiest sort of activity you can think of. You know, you go to your studio, you think you're doing one thing, and the thing tells you doing something else. It's you know, I can be in moods for months. I can like lock my kids up in the basement for years because I'm so fucking annoyed with a little etching I'm trying to do. Yeah, no, it's kind of, you know, it's a very you know, it's a very dispiriting activity. And I think that's the reason it's interesting. So I'm kind of always slightly perplexed by artists who have that kind of sense of self-belief, or at least, you know, coerce their work to being this thing which supports their sense of kind of maniacal sort of self-interest. I don't really understand that. It seems to me kind of paradoxical. It seems really pretty much the antithesis of what my experience of making art is, really. You know, it's kind of, I think I made a quite good, it's like Helen Keller at the Butcher's. That's my description of making art.